The first stage of statistical disclosure control is the disclosure risk assessment. This is where we assess the likelihood of a disclosure taking place. Remember, disclosure can either involve the re-identification of individuals or the exposure of confidential information. Throughout these videos, we will use risk of disclosure to refer to both. Once we better understand the likelihood of a disclosure taking place, we can make informed decisions about whether and how to share our data. This may mean that we apply statistical disclosure control techniques to reduce the risk of disclosure before publishing the data, or decide not to apply such techniques but only share the data with trusted partners under strict terms and conditions. Regardless of whether and how the data is shared, organizations should always assess the disclosure risk of any microdata that they are responsible for. Conducting a disclosure risk assessment requires you to have a concrete understanding of the data that you're working with. To do this, start by reviewing the survey questionnaire so that you're able to accurately interpret the data. Next, since most humanitarian microdata is collected through sampling, you'll need to review the sample methodology and have the sample weights on hand to conduct an assessment. Most of the time, if you're assessing the risk of disclosure in a microdata set, direct identifiers should have already been removed. A direct identifier refers to a piece of information, typically a variable in a dataset, that can be used to uniquely identify an individual, organization, or other unit of interest. Common examples include names, biometric data, and ID numbers. Most humanitarian organizations acknowledge the sensitivity of such personal data and remove these variables as a matter of standard practice before sharing data farther. If for whatever reason they have not been removed from the data, they must be removed before you start the disclosure risk assessment. Now you're ready to start the assessment. Proceed to the next video to learn how to select key variables.